messages of unconditional love and direction to those who seek answers. As a galactic grandmother, Sheila can help you receive emotional healing and solutions, allowing you to live your divine purpose and calling on the nourishment of Mother Earth's energy and the wisdom of your galactic lineage.
Sheila is an experienced metaphysical practitioner who deals with many modalities, as we said, lots of them, such as heart math and Reiki, and she's also a certified hospice caregiver and an ordained metaphysical minister. I get excited because this is the next phrase I say, but wait, there's more. Sheila is truly also known for her profound work, and this is how I think I know her best, in something called integrated energy therapy. Now that's IET, and perhaps she will discuss that as well. So recently she has launched her Galactic Ascension Academy, offering its first course, Sobriety Through Spirituality. Sheila, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Lee and Monica. And I've been around for a long time, and I have listened to this Healing Wednesday show from the very beginning. Been one of the very, very first ones. And of course, been around you and Monica. So I'm very, very grateful to be here and honored. Thank you very much.
It's about time she's here, and thank you there for your loyalty. It's so fun to know that you've watched the program, and now you're on the program. And we've had several of guests of ours who said, yes, I've watched it, and now I'm here. All right, number one, before you talk about the things you want to talk about, I want to know what a recovery metaphysician is.
A metaphysical recovery metaphysician, all right, is a person that helps you get unstuck and get realigned to your true purpose as a soul. And I absolutely love what I do. I help people in many, many areas, not just through addictions, also through everyday life and how they can actually change their life and have more joy and abundance and love. I help people recover from all the things that they get stuck from.
So it's actually it's funny that we're talking about recovery this whole month, and you now are the last guest of the month deals with recovery. So wonderful. How did this start for you? I know we weren't just born knowing these things. With all these modalities, you had to have something that said, I want to know everything. Tell us how it started.
There's a lot there, but my actual soul kind of knew that I was destined for all this, and I really need to go back a little bit to the beginning because it kind of shows where my soul knew before I did what my soul's purpose was. But I am a child of 8 kids, and I'm number 6, and very Irish Catholic family, and I could talk with angels. I could see them, I could hear them, and communicate with them. But of course, I lived in a Catholic community. I also had the Catholic guilt that the nuns told me I could have, a guardian angel, but I couldn't talk to angels. So I hid my ability. And so many people that do know me, and some people that don't know me, that I am hard of hearing. I wear hearing aids, and I've been hard of hearing since I was a child. But I hid my abilities for a long time, but I always knew that I was not alone, and I knew that the angels had me covered. And I started to develop. I came from a home that was not very healthy, and most of us do, all right? And both of my parents are active alcoholics. So I grew up in that type of area of environment. But what happened was I got married very early. I married my high school sweetheart. I really hadn't grown up myself. But what happened was as the years went on, I knew I was unhappy, and I knew I needed to do something about it. So actually in 1985, I actually got into recovery myself for codependency. Of course, during that time, it was about everybody else's fault. I played the victim role good. If you had the life that I did, but I knew that I needed to do something about myself. So in 1985, I started a recovery program for myself. And then it took me 8 years later before I came out of denial that I had a drinking problem also. So I actually got into recovery for alcoholism in 1993. So that was 30 years ago. So it was all through my own life unhappiness and also knowing that I needed to take responsibility for myself. And the only way to get better is to take action. And that's what I did. So I got into recovery. So that's how it all started. Shall I go on?
Yes, because now
Yeah.
many are wondering what steps did you take? Because the first step is awareness, acknowledgement, I need help. How did you get that help? How did you help yourself? And how do you now help others?
Okay, so this is where I really like to talk about, especially when I'm teaching classes or connecting with another person, is that actually spirit, it was all spiritually divinely orchestrated how I decided to start working on myself. Spirit sent a woman who was part of my church. I was actually a church secretary at the time. A Lutheran church secretary, and I was very, very religious and came from that realm. And this person, we meshed, and she's the one that I finally opened up and started asking questions. So she told me kind of what to do. So what I did was I called my doctor and I said, I need help. And before that, I actually called my pastor who I worked for, and times finally got honest because I was so upset about the home life and stuff that was going on, but really I needed to take a look at myself. So what I did was I actually called my doctor the next day, got into a recovery program at one of the mental health programs here. And I started working the program. I started working the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. But what really boosted my power was the spiritual part. And the angels and the divineness and the part where they had in my life, and that I no longer deny them anymore. I said, okay, I need to do something. I knew that they were there for me. So when I started talking about me as a child, when I was about 6 years old, I was in the car with my mother, and you got to visualize this, because I was in the car with my mother. Out of 8 kids, I was the only one in the car. So that's a big one. And all of a sudden I said, Mommy, what are we here for? Where do we come from? And she pulled over, she turned the car off and turned around and she looked at me and she said, honey, I don't know. But my soul knew. So, I say that openly, and I tell people about that a lot, is because serendipity and synchronicity, our soul knows what we need to work on ourselves and what our soul's purpose is, right? But we have to go through all the things in our life to experience it, to actually understand it. So when I decided to do something about it, excuse me, and as I said, it was very spiritual, I knew that I couldn't deny it anymore. And I had the help of divine angels, which of course I know is the Star Mothers, and I started doing work on myself, and that was back in 93. So that's how it kind of started. And what I learned in recovery programs, that it's all about the heart. It's all about making that connection, the intimate connection. And what I say is it's about intimacy, about getting real and getting honest about who you really are. And a lot of times, in this society, we stand, we hide behind the ego. We try to look good. And it's like, I didn't feel good. And I knew that I needed to do something. So that's what I did. I got into recovery and started the process there.
I think that has led you with the toolkit you carry now to help others move through their areas of whether it's addictions, whether it's being stuck, whether it's recovering from something else. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot and ask if you're willing to share an exercise where we can help recognize some spiritual symptoms of being stuck in an addiction. Is that something you could guide us through?
Oh, absolutely. So a lot of times when, in life, we're fearful of doing things. We're fearful of moving forward. And a lot of it has to do with the reasons why we become addicted. So what I like to have people think about is, what are you scared of? What is your fears? Why are you afraid to say what you're really thinking? All right. So it really boils down to how you grew up, what the lessons that you learned or the programming that you had. Right. And I truly believe that the programs that we have limits us to actually live in our divineness. When we look back at it, a lot of people realize that the reasons why they start to become addicted is to learn how to cope with the stress and with life. So as people start to grow up and they start to have things happen to them over and over again, they start to ask questions. People in recovery have hit their bottom in some way or another, and I hit my bottom. So I try to have people look at what caused you to feel unworthy. Why are you living in fear? Where does your anger come from? And many times people in addiction, they have a lot of anger issues. They have a lot of resentment, and they don't know why. All right. So it's more psychosocial things that you were brought up with, how you behave, how you actually relate to society, how you relate to other people. So many people have problems in relationships. They have problems in the workforce. They have problems relating to other people on a social environment unless they've been drinking, or they have to put that mask on to be somebody who they're really not. So I try to help people look at themselves. Where do you feel unhappy? Where do you feel stuck? And why do you feel stuck? So addiction or unhappiness, there's a lot more to it than just the drink or even the food, and when I hear labels out there, it really upsets me because we all have ways of coping, right? And a lot of it is unhealthy, but we're not called, oh, you're an overeater, or you shop too much, but people look down upon people in recovery, or have a problem. And it's not about, the substance that they use, it's the reasons why. So I like to have people go back and look into their childhood, go back, where did this all start from? So my practice really is about energy psychology and what happened to actually build those unhealthy behaviors that led you into seeking out unhealthy friends, unhealthy environments. And it's all about them being unhappy inside, trying to fill that empty hole inside, and how they do it. And most of the time, it's the fear that they have, the fear of doing different, the fear of going their own path. So I have people kind of look at what's really going on inside, and a lot of people don't know what's going on inside. And that's sometimes why they seek me out, through another friend or whatever they will say. But I love helping people by relating by stories, my own story. And I share openly about who I am and where I've come from. And I think that is the biggest key right there about being real and being authentic. I let them into me see what's really going on inside, So what other question would you like to ask?
Well, yeah. So what I'd like
I don't know.
Oh, no, we have a job for you.
Yeah, what I would like to now transition into is you've always had the ability of communicating with angels, and now you are communicating with the Galactic Star Mothers. And I feel that this is quite a passion of yours. And can you share with us how this unfolded and what the message of the Galactic Star Grandmothers is?
Oh, it's about us being divine. And this is a wonderful time in humanity where it's about this energy shift. And it's the right time and the divine time. And the Star Mothers have always been with me. And they've really have brought that forward the last 5 or 6 years. And it's mostly through my own self-healing and things that I need to work on, but also standing in my own power and my own insecurities, my own fears, getting rid of those, and looking at my own issues and my tissues. So the Star Mothers bring me peace. And the Star Mothers, I openly communicate with them and ask them for direction. That's what my intention is every day. Show me, grow me, help me be the best that I can be. And the Star Mothers have showed that to me through people, through events that I've attended. A lot of the events, of course, with you and Lee, Monica, you and Lee, and all of the events that I have experienced, that was part of my own growth. And I had to go through that growth. But I always felt in the background that I always knew that I was never alone. And the Star Mothers were giving me messages. And it was in 2020 when I was actually in an event up in Ottawa with Dr. Ryan, where the Star Mothers said, from now on, you are going to openly channel us. And we have been the ones channeling through you from the very beginning. And I kind of knew that, but it kind of solidified everything. And the channeling came through when I was teaching. My modality that I actually specialize in is called integrated energy therapy. Yes, Lee, it's about issues in your tissues, and it's the angels of the energy field, of the IET healing energy field. And what they do is they work with the DNA, the 12 spiritual strands of the DNA. So when you wrote the book, 12 layers of the DNA, I kind of knew everything kind of that was coming forward. So the angels revealed to me that they were the mothers. They showed me in many situations, whenever I would do a meditation for my classes or my students, they would come in, they would wrap their arms around me, and I could feel them. And then in 2020, when they said, you now are going to openly channel us, and we have been the ones that have been coming through. And so then I knew, and it was no stopping. And then I said, okay, I had to face my fears. I had to get out of the way and just let them take over. And that's what I like to teach about being in the present moment. What does it mean to just be in the present moment and let, your multidimensional abilities as a soul come through? Why are we here? Where do we come from?
Yeah. So you mentioned integrated energy therapy. I'd like to know more about it, because there's people who are watching this who have never been exposed to that healing modality, and I would love to hear more about it.
Right. Well, that actually happened in 2013. Between 2010 and 2013, I was going through mediumship training myself. And I knew I had abilities, and I was using them all along throughout my whole life, but I wasn't really ready to stand on my power until I advanced to a certain point. And when I started doing mediumship work, I wasn't comfortable saying, I'm a medium, can I give you a reading type thing? Because the angels were always in the background. And then I came across this modality called integrated energy therapy that uses the quantum violet light frequency of the divine with the work with the 12 spiritual strands of your DNA, meaning what is stuck in each of those areas of your body, the 12 strands, what is your full potential as a soul? And so, of course, Lee and Monica, we know in 2012, a lot of things happened. Science actually showed that there's more to the DNA than just the 2 spiritual strands, that there's all this other layers that come into play. And I felt it and I knew it. And IET is about getting on a cellular level, the DNA cellular level, things that are trapped in the cellular level that keeps you stuck. Right. And there's actually 9 different angels. Right. And each of them deal with a different area of the body that store the negative energy, the frequency of a blockage. Right. It's a lot like acupuncture, but it's not. And it's a lot of people call it, some people call it anyway, the actual Reiki on steroids, kind of Reiki on steroids. But it is, and it's a higher quantum frequency. And what it does is it goes and it takes away one layer of blockage, and a lot of the blockages are guilt, distrust, shame. All right. The ones I like is the shoulds, the shoulda, wouldas, and couldas. It's about, I should do this, I would have done this, and how you beat yourself up type of thing. Then we have in the heart center, we deal with love and betrayal and heartache and stuff that's inside you. And then the